Do you ever find it hard to maintain discipline and keep going with the things that you know you should be doing? This question has been asked so many times, probably throughout history. How can you stay disciplined? And when I say discipline, I mean just like building habits, doing things, even sometimes when you don't want to do those things. This is actually really simple, and this is probably going to be the shortest video I've ever made on this channel. In order to stay disciplined, the only thing that qualifies you to say that you're disciplined is consistency. So you need to basically prioritize consistency over everything else, even if that means doing tiny versions of the things that you want to do. Let's say you want to meditate. It's much better to meditate for a minute every single day than to try and meditate for half an hour, and then you fail one day, you do it the next day, then maybe you have a week's break or something. Much better to just do a minute every day, and then you're actually building the habit and you're staying disciplined. Now, of course, it would be better if you were able to be disciplined to do half an hour every day. But the truth is, most people are just not that, they don't have that willpower. They don't have that determination. And so the danger is, if you don't have the determination, you're just going to give up. So it's much better to set really, really tiny, almost effortless goals, things that you can, 99% of the time you can achieve them, and then just do them every single day. And then eventually you'll get to a point where it will be so weird for you to not do the thing that it's very easy to add more time to it. And meditation is a classic example of this. Let's say you meditate for a minute a day. After months and months of meditating every single day for a minute, it's very easy to increase that to 2 minutes or even 10 minutes. And then suddenly you've built up a really strong habit. It's not even in your mind, the idea that you won't meditate one day, because it's just, it's what you do. It's your routine, it's your habit. And suddenly you have the discipline. You are doing it every day, even though you're only doing it for a tiny amount of time. Now, this can apply to pretty much anything, including the gym. Most of I would say the hardest thing about going to the gym is getting to the gym. So just set yourself the goal of literally just turning up to the gym. Even if you tell yourself you don't even need to do any exercise when you get there. Just get to the gym, physically walk to the building. And then once you're actually there, you might as well exercise, right? And you probably will anyway as a result. But the hard part is actually getting to the gym. If you're trying to write a book, let's say, you might have writer's block. You might think, oh, how can I find the discipline, as if it's like this thing out there that you need to go and grab. Like, how can I find this discipline and bring it into my life? Well, it's very easy. All you need to do is just commit to micro versions of the task you're trying to do. Let's say you're trying to write. Everyone can write 2 sentences a day. Literally everyone. That takes you, 30 seconds? So just tell yourself, every single day, I will write 2 sentences of my book. Now, if you just did that, it would take you probably a few years to finish a book, which is also very respectable, to write a book. But what will happen, and what happened for me is I said, right, I'm going to write 2 sentences a day. And then what happened is, when it actually gets to the time when I've written the 2 sentences, I have the document in front of me, and my hands are warmed up, it's very hard to only write 2 sentences. I found myself writing pages and pages, even though I only intended to write 2 sentences. But the interesting thing is that the first thing you commit to, the 2 sentences at the start, is so easy, it's almost hilarious, it's almost funny, like writing 2 sentences. Of course I can do that, everyone can. Walking to a building, in the case of the gym, everyone can walk to a building, unless, of course, unless you have a disability or something like that. But I'm saying if you can go to a gym, then go to the gym, and then when you're there, you'll probably be motivated to exercise. It's the same kind of thing, I would say, with socializing as well. If socializing is like this daunting kind of overwhelming task for you, and it puts you off a bit, just commit to going to the thing, whether it's showing up to the call, meeting that person, going to that group, whatever. Just commit to actually turning up. And then once you're there, it's when you're actually in the moment, it's very easy to continue that. You have the momentum, you're already there, you've showed up, which is the hardest part. So then it's just a question of just being there, being yourself. And this could apply to pretty much anything. Anything that you would class as discipline. In my opinion, the best way to build the discipline is to break it down into the tiniest possible versions of that task, and then just do those every day. Once you've built that habit, which is, the easiest part, then it's easy to extend the time. Another example is if you're learning a language. I'm learning Spanish right now. And what would happen is at the start, I would try and do like a half an hour a day Duolingo session. And then I would look at flashcards. I would read some grammar. And what happened is, like, that was great for a few weeks. But then after a while, after a month or two, I gave up, because it's this big chunk of time. It's this big task that, you know, if I was busy, or if I didn't feel like it, or if other things got in the way, it was very easy for me to say, I don't want to spend 45 minutes right now studying Spanish. You know, it's 10 p.m., you know, I'm tired, I've got other things. So I ended up just stopping that task. However, what I've been doing since then is to break it down into micro tasks. So just say, right, one Duolingo session a day, one session. That takes about maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3, and 3 minutes. And that's something that I can pretty much do every single day. There's almost no excuses for that. And then I can, you know, maintain my daily streak, which is a good motivational tool. And it's just, and what happens with these micro tasks is, once you actually start doing them every day, anything you add on top of those is a bonus. Let's say if you meditate for a minute, and then you stay meditating, and you meditate actually for 10 or 15 minutes, it's a bonus, because you've done the minimum, which you should set yourself, like 1 minute, or one Duolingo session, turning up to the gym, or let's say if you want to go for a walk or jog more or something, right? The task you would set yourself is literally as simple as, I will put my shoes on and I will walk to the end of my street. And if I want to, I can turn back and go home after I've got to the end of the street. But that's the minimum. I'm going to do that every single day, even if it's pouring with rain. You put your shoes on and you walk to the end of your street, even if, you know, crazy weather outside. Doesn't matter, because it's such a small task. You know, even if it's pouring down with rain, you only have to walk a few steps, and then you can go back inside if you want to. So it just makes it easier. So yeah, this, in my opinion, this is the most effective way to build discipline in your life, because not everybody is able to be like these kind of ex-marine motivational speaker people, where they wake up at 4 a.m. every day, they go for an hour run, they do 2 hours meditation. Like, for most people, that's completely unrealistic, and you're just not going to do it. And if you do that, it won't last forever. It will last a few weeks, maybe even a few months, if you really have the desire for it. But once that initial excitement wears off, once you've got over the novelty of doing something new, and you wake up one day and you're tired, maybe even you're sick, or you're just really not feeling like it, you're not going to do it, unless it's these micro tasks, these things that in almost any condition, you know, even if you're sick, writing 2 sentences, you would have to be pretty sick to not be able to write 2 sentences. And it's the same thing with meditating for 1 minute. 60 seconds, I mean, that's nothing. That's literally as simple as just closing your eyes just for a brief moment, waiting a few seconds, and then you're done. I mean, that's almost everybody can do that in almost any condition. And what it does is it builds discipline.